Shalom, Israel. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shabarakathum. Yahweh Shema Alathum Bahashem Yahweh Shah to the, to the sisters. This is the ISUPK, Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, under commanding General Yohanan. We've been teaching this truth since 1969 out of 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Today's title of the class is that Christ died for everybody, or that Yahawashah in the Hebrew, but the world knows him as Jesus, that he died for the blacks, Hispanics, and First Nation, right? The unwanted nation, you know what I'm saying? The nations that get oppressed by our oppressor every day. When we look at our windows, we look at our car doors, when we watch the news, the local news, we see that the Hispanics are oppressed. We see that the Hispanic babies who have been locked in them cages for what, 4 years now? 5 years? They're forgotten about, right? We know of Salaki. We know of, how would you say that? Other words. I mean, I guess you could say that. We know of sex trafficking, right? And we don't know what's going on with those young children. We are the oppressed. You know what I'm saying? There's a devil, right? The oppressor that unalives, that takes, that has a foot on a certain particular group of people's neck, where they cannot have businesses in their own community, right? Where they can't have businesses in a Jew town or wherever the Asian man lives. But the Asian man can have businesses in our neighborhoods. But you know what I mean? But the so-called Jew can come in our neighborhoods and have businesses. They can dominate the music industry. Well, today we're going to find out who Yahawashah in the Hebrew, Jesus, right, died for. We're going to start off in Matthew chapter 1, verse 1. And before we get into it, we need to understand who is Jesus. Who is he? For you to understand who he died for, you got to understand who is he. You got that?
In Matthew chapter 1, verse 1. The book of the generation of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham.
He is the son of David, the son of Abraham, right? And son of, Abraham was the one who the Most High spoke to, that told him that from his loins a great nation would come. So like, not from his loins, that from him he will build a great nation. You know what I'm saying? And we know who King David is. King David slaughtered Goliath. You know what I'm saying? And became a king after Saul. You know what I'm saying? A mighty king, a man after the Most High's own heart. You know what I mean? That won plenty of wars. You know what I'm saying? And this book is saying this is the generation of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Now, you understand that this book is talking about a generation, right? When you talk about your generation, who are you talking about? You're talking about the children that came from you, your seed. You know what I mean? Not somebody else's son, not a made up, character that you made and you claim it as a part of your generation, not your daughter's imaginary friend. When you talk about your generation, you don't talk about your imaginary friend because you made him up, he's yours. No, you talk about your seed, right? And we're going to get some more into this. You can go ahead and read too.
If I could, it's really important to point out, like right here, it cuts so much of the Christian doctrine right here, that first verse, because this is a physical genealogy.
Come.
This ain't nothing spiritual about it. You see what I'm saying? How they say, we spiritual this and spiritual that. This is a physical genealogy. So Christ did not come from this genealogy or these men. If he did not come from the loins of these men, he could not be from the tribe of Judah.
Come.
The only reason he can be from the tribe of Judah is if he came from the loins of these brothers right here. King David, Abraham,
Right.
Son of
He
Abraham.
can't be a Salaki. Khan. He can't be from their generation.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like nobody, like yo, even fathers in the world. I'm gonna about to get to you. Even fathers in the world, right? They'll take care of, they'll take care, right, and claim, you know, a stepchild or somebody that a fatherless, you know, child. They'll take him up and raise him up and make sure that he has morals. You know what I'm saying? That I teach him to do the things that I would do in those situations. But when it come time for him to write down his genealogy, he is nothing against that child. He won't be in that genealogy because we know genealogy is the seed. You know what I'm saying? Your bloodline that goes on and goes on. No, we gonna get back to that. You had a question, sis?
Sir, if I may, I'm not understanding, okay, the first verse, the book of generation of Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
So is he saying that Jesus Christ is the son of David and David is the son of Abraham?
Is it saying that Jesus Christ is the son of David and that the son of David is the son of Abraham? Yes.
If I could, like the way you would explain it, like it's pretty much saying like, say my father, right? Say my father, my grandfather. If you come to Sabbath service, so like you'll see when we come up here and I say Matazabah, Ban Yehavada, Ban Yasha'ala, what I'm saying is son of Judah, son of Israel. It's pretty much a lineage. You see what I'm saying? Abraham was he was the beginning of that lineage. You see what I'm saying? And then David was like he was like the best king up until that point. You see what I'm saying? So it's pretty much saying he's coming from that same bloodline.
So Jesus Christ was not, I mean, his mother was Mary?
Right.
Okay. Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Okay.
So David and Mary was together and beget Jesus?
You want?
No. Go ahead.
I want to repeat her to make sure that they hear it.
No, go ahead.
So the sister is asking because in Matthew chapter 1, verse 1, it says, the book of generations of Jesus Christ, right? The son of David, the son of Abraham. So now the sister heard the son of David and the son of Abraham, and she's asking, is David is David Jesus Christ's direct father, right? And what Officer Mutazabot was explaining is like when we say son of Israel, right? You know who Israel is? That name, you know who that came from? Jacob's name was changed to Israel, right?
Yeah, Abraham, Isaac, and then Jacob.
Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So if Abraham had Isaac and Isaac had Jacob.
Right.
Right. So these are prominent people, right, in the nation that made this nation. These are prominent people that they're talking about, right? So he's not saying that that's his direct father, but like my grandfather, he's just saying I come from this line. I'm my grandfather's son because I'm his son's seed. So I refer to my grandfather as if Jacob is the father of Israel, I refer to him, I'm his son, because I come from his generation. I come under his lineage, right? So I refer to me as the son of Israel. I'm the son of Abraham. If you are black and Hispanic and Native American, you are the you are the children of Abraham. You are the daughter of Abraham and Isaac. You know what I mean? You come from that lineage. It's not directly his father. You know what I mean? It's
Right, and that's why it's so important to be UPK. Because when we come up here, like when you're watching on Saturday, when brothers come up here to come on stage, they salute to get on stage. They gotta, when we state our name, we'll state not only our nation, but we're gonna state the tribe we're from. So when I say Matazabah Ban Yahawada, tribe. I come from that lineage. Ban Yahawada, Ban Yasha'ala, meaning son of Judah, son of Israel, or son of Jacob. So that's just the line that I come from. So I'm just telling, like, that's my registry. So that's the same thing that's going on right here in Matthew 1:1. Right.
Okay, you got a
Yeah, I was just gonna add, sir, if you go from verse 1, Matthew 1 down to, I believe, 16, it lay it out. It named every specific father,
Yeah.
all the generations down. So there's no misinterpretations in there.
Mm-hmm. That was just our early question. We was gonna get into that. I was gonna ask the officer to drop down. So now reading this, we know that David was a prominent person in Israel, right? David was perfect, and then his son Solomon was one of the most wisest kings. You know what I mean? That we had. Abraham was the beginning. You understand of Israel, of who Israel will come from. So when they speak about these people, they're speaking about two prominent people in Israel. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And it goes into a genealogy, right? Breaking down verse 2. Can you read verse 2? For example, we're going to get this for example.
Matthew chapter 1, verse 2. And Jacob begat Joseph. Right. Verse 2. Abraham begat Isaac. And Isaac begat Jacob. And Jacob begat Judas and his brothers.
So it's giving you a genealogy all the way down to Joseph, to Christ. You know what I'm saying? Himself. So it's giving you the genealogy of who Christ is. Christ came from the genealogy of Israel. You know what I mean? So it proves, and it gets to the point when you drop down to verse 16. You'll read verse 16?
Matthew chapter 1, verse 16. And Jacob begat Joseph, the husband of Mary.
The husband of Mary, Joseph. Go ahead.
Of whom was born Jesus, who is called Christ.
So of whom is born Jesus, who is called Christ. Now, if Christ came from God, right, as the Christian church would tell us, that Christ came from God, Mary got impregnated by magic, right? It would be no genealogy. His genealogy would come straight from the Most High down to Mary. Joseph wouldn't even be speak of. King David wouldn't be speak of. King David would just be a king that did great things, right? Huh? Verse 17? Come. Go ahead, get into verse 17.
Verse 17. So all the generations from Abraham to David are 14 generations.
Now it's counting the generations. It's keeping track. These are records. You know what I mean? Go ahead, continue.
And from David unto the carrying away into Babylon are 14 generations.
Now it's telling you about when we went into bondage. It's counting the generations so you can keep track. Go ahead.
And from the carrying away into Babylon unto Christ.
Now from the getting out of bondage in Babylon all the way until Christ. Go ahead.
Are 14 generations.
So this is giving you a clear understanding of who Christ is, where he came from, what group of people he was associated, what was his bloodline, who is his grandfather, his great-grandfather. Now it's his family's reputation. You know what I'm saying? To verify, these are kings. You know what I mean? These are kings of Israel. So what would have to keep these records, this genealogy in a record, so you can know who's the next king. Like to know, to verify that this bloodline of kingship came from David. You know what I mean? That this bloodline is kept pure. You know what I mean? In England, right? They have King Harry, Queen Elizabeth. They have a bloodline, right? They have a kingship that they follow. They don't want nobody else that's not from the bloodline being the king of England. They keep records of those things. They keep records of those things so much, right, that me and a brother was talking about King Harry and how King Harry married somebody from America. What's her name?
Forgot her
Yeah, she's mixed. Well, black and white. They don't respect. They respect the kingship, the bloodline of the kingship so much that they dismiss Harry out of the royal family. He has nothing to do with him. They stripped him of it. Yeah, Meghan. Meghan what? Markle? Meghan Markle, they dismissed her. This is it. They keep records of the kingship. They following after us. We kept records of this. So you can know why we call Christ the king. He really is the king of Israel. He comes from the king bloodline of Israel. Give me 1 second. Go ahead.
And another thing, note, he could not be king if he did not come from the line of Judah.
Come on, one come.
If he did not come from the seed of Judah, like David came from the seed of Judah, Christ had to come from the seed of Judah in order to be for him to be king of Israel. If he didn't come from that seed, that literal seed, he couldn't do it.
Go ahead.
So all of this time, I was taught in church that God is Jesus' father. But that's not true.
That's absolutely not true.
And that Mary was impregnated
By a ghost.
by God,
The Holy Spirit. By the Holy Spirit. Right?
Yeah. No. We ain't laughing at you. We always taught the same thing.
So it wasn't immaculate conception.
No.
Why would they say that? Why would they?
They teach that because you have frauds and fakes that are trying to interpretate these records, but it's not their records. Yeah, and they still can't interpretate it. Go ahead.
Right, and one of the main reasons is if they can make Christ seem like he was not one of us, and they make him seem like a demigod, half man, half spirit, they always say he could be perfect because he was born of the spirit, but he can't be perfect. So that's one of their ways that they get out of following this law, because they'll say we wasn't born of the spirit like Christ was. So because we wasn't born of the spirit, we can't be perfect as he is. So that's actually one of the things that they use to justify living in sin.
Right.
That's what they use it for. Because he wasn't all the way like us. So because he wasn't all the way like us, that's why he was able to live a perfect life and we can't.
Right. Come.
They fail to realize Christ did. He was born just like us.
Come.
From a mother and a father. Ages 40.
Come. Go ahead.
If I may, sir, also by eliminating these other nations trying to eliminate the importance of that bloodline, those genealogies, it was very easy for them to deceive the world and just say he's a white man, blonde hair, blue eyes. You got to go through that genealogy. You know who his father was and who his father was and where he come from. You know it's the tribe of Judah. We know who they are. But if you eliminate the dad, then it's like, well, now we can make them whatever we want.
Right.
He don't have to be from the tribe of Judah anymore. He can be, like they try to say, Middle Eastern or, portraying to be Caucasian.
Or everything.
Or
Right.
everything.
You talk to a Christian, they'll tell you, and if you in the chat, if you're a Christian and you on Bingo, if you on YouTube, we know what you believe. If you think different, right, you can put it in the chat. You know what I mean? You can put it in the chat. You can show, prove that, Christ only had a mother. You know what I mean? If you disagree with the records, speak up, say something. And what I wanted to add too, when you were saying is like, when they take away the genealogy, of Christ, they separate Israel from him, period. You know what I mean? They get to bring all the other nations, put them in our place. You know what I mean? Everything that Deuteronomy 28, all the blessings that it say that you would get, they get to bring all the other nations in and make them feel like they are entitled to these blessings. They are entitled to the covenant. You know what I mean? The being a nation of that flavors the earth, right? It's sad, and really, you know, we also need to not forget that our false leaders, you know what I mean, our pastors, they study these scriptures. Sis, they studied these. You understand? We pay tithes to the Christian church, right? So they can live in Bowie and mansions to drive Lexuses and all the cars that you punch your homeboy and say that was your car on your block. All of those nice cars for them to relax. You pay them so the church has a tithe to pay the pastor so he don't have to work. So he can only study the word. You know what I mean? That's his job. So what are you doing all day? What are you doing all week? Going to Epstein's Island. That's what you're doing. You having fun with children and your first gentleman. You know what I mean? Of your church. Go ahead.
I got a precept for this too.
Come on, come.
You go to Hebrews 2 and 17. Hebrews chapter 2 verse 17. It say, wherefore in all things it behooved him to be made like unto his brethren, that he might be a merciful and faithful high priest in things pertaining to the Most High, to make reconciliation for the sins of the people. So this is telling you that Christ himself, he had to be made in all, like just the
So
same way he was made, he had to be made.
Can you look up
They
behoove?
say in all things. So the same way we had a mother and father, and that's how we were born, he was made the same way.
And he was made that way so the Most High can show us that you can do it too. You know what I mean? You can be perfect. The Christian church is so confusing, and they wonder why it's crumbling. You know what I mean? It's like they can't fathom it. They can't get past this part, and I always bring it up. You saying that we can't be perfect, right? King David wasn't somebody that was born from an immaculate birth, nor was Noah, nor was Ezekiel. You understand? But they were perfect. Like Christ, though. You get what I'm saying? They were perfect like Christ. You know what I mean? And then to make it even harder, when I talk to other Christians, they always bring it up. Well, they made mistakes too. Okay, King David, right? He sent another man to war, and then took his wife after he sent them to war. And the Most High gave him a judgment for it. But the Most High considered him still a perfect man of his heart. So you making the point that we're making, that sometimes you have to endure and follow these laws. Now, it could come a time where you mess up, but getting back on track, getting yourself back perfect, getting in the Most High good graces, that makes you human. Like from that point, because Christ is considered perfect, he's not human. But King David and Noah are perfect, that right in the records like Christ. And then you see them make mistakes. So you can't say that only if you're perfect that you have to come from you gotta come from you can't be human. That throws away your point. You know what I mean? That shows you that doing what the Most High tells you to do makes you perfect. Now you could slip up, but you get back on it. You know what I mean? You don't just continue in sin. You know what I mean? That's the excuse that the Christian church gives you. And it's confusing when they say you can't be perfect, but don't sin.
Right.
What are you saying? Like, well, don't just stop there. You know what I mean? It always confuses me. I'm like, oh, don't just stop there. Like, no, explain that. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, them big hat Christian mothers, they will use that spare the rod, spare the child. You hear me? Like, but you telling me that I'm going to do it anyway because I'm not perfect. So, so what is this whooping for? Because you angry? Because you tired of working for real? You know what I mean? because you gotta pay the bills. That's what this whooping is for. Them whooping for them Jordans that you brought me. When you had a smile when you brought them, but you thinking about it now, like, I could have used that for something. Now, you know what I mean? Go ahead.
That's why, like, Greek mythology. That's what they trying to liken it to almost. You know, like the half god, half human, Zeus, Hercules. You know, when it almost came down like it was some divine being that
Was a hero.
That's Greek mythology. That's all it is. You see what I'm saying? It's the same thing they try to push and put them on Yahweh. You see what I'm saying? But the Bible clearly negates that.
And all you got to do is just take some time to get into the ISUPK. That's all you got to do. Is get into the ISUPK under Commanding General Yohana. You know what I mean? And show yourself approved. You know what I mean? The brother just broke up. It's just Greek mythology. It goes all the way back to Babylon. You know what I'm saying? And with Nimrod and Ishtar. You know what I mean? Really, when you talk about immaculate birth with Mary, it's unexplainable that somebody would question and be like, well, she had to have sex with somebody else. Why would Joseph just take care of a child that he don't know how she got pregnant? You know what I'm saying? The angel didn't talk to Joseph until after he already said he wasn't going to put her away. So that means he's with a female, she gets pregnant. He was like, you know what? I'm not going to make you a public example. It ain't like the angel talked to him first before he said he wasn't going to make her a public example. And that was the reason why he didn't make her a public example. The angel didn't talk to him after he said he wasn't going to make her a public example and told him to not hide it at all. You know what I'm saying? No man would do that. No man would just say, you pregnant? I never had sex with you and you're pregnant. I'm gonna just say it's mine and take care of it. That's with no argument, no investigation, no anything. No. And when you read about the story of Nimrod and Ishtar, the man that she was having sex with, which was her son, he died, and then she became pregnant. She had sex with somebody else and just told the people that it was Nimrod's son. It was whoredom behind her actions. If somebody is popping up pregnant and you never had sex with them and they supposed to be with you, it's whoredom. That's playing a role in it. Don't let her come to you and say it's magic. You know what I mean? It happened to Mary. It didn't. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to get some more into this because first we had to prove the genealogy of the man that y'all call Jesus, who we call Yahawashai in the Hebrew, right? We had to know who he is, right? What people did he come from? His genealogy. You know what I'm saying? He came from a bloodline of kings. That is why he is called the king. You know what I mean? Because he really is. Now we're going to get into Matthew's 1 and 21 to add to it. Oh, yeah. You could drop that definition. Matthew's 1 and 21.
The book of Matthew, chapter 1 and verse 21. And she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Jesus.
So now it's talking about Mary, right? It's talking about Mary and the birth that she's about to have. She shall bring forth a son, and she shall call his name Jesus. Go ahead, continue.
For he shall save his people.
His what?
His people.
The other people.
His people.
Everybody.
His people.
Moab.
His people.
The Chinese.
His people.
It's saying that he shall save his people. We're in Matthew chapter 1, verse 21. Now it's talking about Mary having Jesus, right? Having a birthing him. It's saying that and she shall bring forth a son. They gave him his name. You shall call him Jesus. This is an order. You know what I'm saying? He's telling you the prophecy. She's going to bring forth a son. This is an angel talking to Jesus' father, Joseph. You know what I'm saying? Did I say it's Joshua? Joseph, right? Yeah, Joseph. And it's telling him about she's going to bring forth a son, and you're going to call him this, and he will save his people. That's why we need to understand who Jesus is. You know what I'm saying? The records talk about his how he looked, the complexion of his skin, the texture of his hair, his demeanor. You know what I mean? The clothes that he had on, right? And you need to know who Jesus is. Jesus is not Caesar Borgia. Jesus is not a white man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? An oppressor with blonde hair. The Christian church will tell you it don't matter. Because black people and the Hispanics have a sickness of caring about everybody but themselves. You know what I'm saying? And really, it's not to tell you don't care about nobody but yourself. It's telling you to care about your people first. Fix your problems first. If you lived on a block and all the children on the same block went to school together, right? Like, okay, your son or daughter has friends. It's about 5 of them. And they all in school, and they follow after each other. They fight. They have a fighting problem, right? And they don't pay attention in school. Who are you going to help? Who is your first focus going to be? Your friends, your child has friends. They all fighting a lot in school. And it's disrupting them from learning. Who are you going to focus on to fix this problem? What child are you going to pick out to first help them fix this problem? Your own child. That's your family, your own child. And then after that, I fixed him. I know these your friends. You're going to hang with them. You know what at least I can do, I care for them too. They on this block. I'm going to help them. But you got to fix you want to protect your children. You want to get them right first, and then you'll get the other children right. Well, this is the same way Christ is with his people. He wants to solve the problems with his people first, right? And then maybe if it's to him, you know what I mean? Him fixing his people's problems, they'll help other people solve them problems. We're the light. You know what I'm saying? That's what they talk about Lucifer. Lucifer is not the devil. We're the light of the earth. You know what I'm saying? When our problems get fixed, everybody will look at us and see the way that we do things, and then they'll start to do it. It goes either way, right? If they see us dancing this way, they're going to dance this way. If they see us rapping this way, they're going to rap this way. You know what I mean? If they see us, it goes both ways, and it's negative or positive. You know what I'm saying? The Hispanics, get tattoos on their face. They wear the button up, some of them. You know what I mean? Now you see the Asians looking like the Hispanics. You know what I'm saying? Drill music. You see the Asians doing drill music now. You know what I'm saying? They're going to follow us. You know what I mean? Being in front of trenches is not a good thing. It's a horrible thing. We know it, we live in it. But they take it and they make it look like it's the thing. They're going to follow us either way. You know what I mean? Read that again, verse 21.
Book of Matthew, chapter 1 and verse 21. And she shall bring forth a son.
And she shall bring forth a son. Go ahead.
And thou shalt call his name Jesus.
And they're going to call him Jesus. Go ahead.
For he shall save his people from their sins.
From what?
From their sins.
From their sins. He's going to, hold on. He said he's going to save his people, right? Now he being specific with a group of people. His people. The people that come from the loins of Abraham. The same people that are the same nation of David, right? The same people that are the same nation as his mother and his father, Joseph and Mary. The same bloodline, his people that are what? That have bronze skin like a penny, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That has hair of wool, right?
Right.
I mean, your people look like you. Y'all have similar traits, right? He's going to save his people from what?
Their sins.
From their sins. He's not going to save everybody from their sins. He's going to save a group of people that need saving. Those Hispanic babies that are in those cages need saving. His people. You know what I mean? They need saving. You know what I mean? We're going to get some more into it. And if you got questions on bingo, I see we got 69 people in here. We had the numbers up. Drop your comments in the chat. We have no problem with you dropping your comments in the chat. You on YouTube too. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get some more into this. We're going to get into Matthew's chapter 10, verse 5 and 7. It's very important that we understand who Yahushua Christ is, for us to understand, does he love everybody? Is he going to save everybody? What's his message to everybody? You know what I'm saying? You got that?
Come.
All right. Go ahead.
The book of Matthew, chapter 10 and verse 5. These 12 Yahushua sent forth and commanded them.
So right there, these 12, Yahushua, Jesus sent forth, right? The 12 disciples that followed after Christ. You know what I'm saying? These 12 disciples that followed after Christ, that's he's talking about. Go ahead.
And commanded them.
And he gave them a commandment. He gave them an order to do something. Go ahead. What did he tell them to do?
Saying, go not into the way of the Gentiles.
Go not into the way of the Gentiles. Hey, but Carl, I thought the Gentiles was people who sin. I thought the Christian church tell us Gentiles is somebody who just sin. So right here, let's give us a question. Why is Christ telling the 12 disciples not to go in the way of the Gentiles, the people that sin? These are questions that we need to write down and ask our pastors. Why is he telling them not to go to sinners? So Christ is telling his disciples only to go to people that are already following. For what reason? I thought we was here to get the sinners from stop sinning.
Right.
I mean, that's what the pastors say, right? That's what we are here, to be a light to the ones who sin so they cannot sin. To get the ones that smoke and that drink and that do all the ungodly things that the Christian church say they do, to get them to come into the church. You know what I mean? That's why they go and pass out tracts. Do they go pass out tracts to only other Christians? Do evangelists in the church get a group of female evangelists and they say, all right, we're going to go to this other church on Sunday and pass out tracts? No, they go out in the street. They pass them out to drug dealers and everybody that they feel like, needs Christ, right? Go ahead, continue.
The book of Matthew, chapter 10 and verse 5.
Start from go not into the way.
Go not into the way of the Gentiles.
Go not into the way of the Gentiles. Meaning Gentiles to the Christian church, I want to go over it one more time, is the people that sin. So Christ is telling them, don't go into the way of the Gentiles. That makes you question, does Gentile really mean only people who sin? Because obviously it might not be, because Christ is telling them, don't go into the way of the Gentiles. Go ahead.
And into any city of the Samaritans.
And he's telling them, don't go into any city of the Samaritans. That doesn't sound like a man that loves everybody. Go ahead.
Enter ye not.
Enter ye not. Go ahead.
Verse 6. But go rather to the lost.
Go ahead, my bad.
But go rather to the lost sheep.
Stop right there. Now this is very important. But go rather to the lost sheep of what?
Of the house of Israel.
Now, we went over who Christ was. We know King David was Israel, right? We know Jacob's name was changed to Israel. It gave you the genealogy of who they were. King David, king of Israel. Jacob, name was changed to Israel, which from him came the 12 sons that made up the 12 tribes of Israel. In verse 6 is telling them, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, not to everybody.
Right.
You know what I mean? Gentiles does not mean just sinners. Gentiles mean people who are of other nations, right, that are not of Israel. And it can also mean people who are Israel but don't know they're Israel. They follow after other customs and religions of other nations, right? If you are following another nation's religion, they're following after their God, you were considered a Gentile. You left the Most High and you went into another nation and start doing what they did. You know what I'm saying? If you have a son and your son bucks against you or rebels against you, you know what I'm saying, and say, you're not my mother no more. I'm going across the street with the Jones family. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing everything the Jones family do. You are now considering, so you would save your other children. You're like, yo, he not with us no more. I want him to come back to this family, but he's left this family and he's following after that family over there. He's doing what that family do. You know what I'm saying? He's over there worshiping another. He's going against me and following after them. You know what I'm saying? This is what this is saying. You know what I mean? Gentiles doesn't just mean sinners. Gentile is somebody of another nation other than Israel, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans and Native Indians, and also is somebody who follows the customs and traditions of another nation, but are Israel. You know what I'm saying? But they just following the gods and customs of another nation. He in verse all right, we done with that. In verse 6, he said, go what?
Go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
And what would the lost sheep of the house of Israel would be those Gentiles that follow other nations. You know what I mean? It's a nickname. You know what I mean? It would be those. He's telling them, don't go into the land of Samaritan. Like, if Christ is a man that loves everybody, he's not telling his disciples not to go nowhere. He's telling his disciples, yo, man, spread out. Go all over the place. Tell everybody you see. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't be no specific orders of not to go anywhere. You know what I mean?
Right.
And this is why we need to understand who Jesus is, because the church not giving you these scriptures. They skipping over these. They not trying to explain these. They trying to focus on Christ, love, and more love. That's it. That's all. Because if you feel happy in a Christian church, you're going to empty out your purse.
Right.
You're going to feel convicted.
Right.
You're going to feel like, man, when really everything that you're going through is it's so evil. Because everything that you're going through is because you're not following the Most High. So he just playing off of your already hurt and pain. It's like a pimp.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? She hurt because something happened to her. And he's making money off of her hurt. He's making her feel like she has love off of her pain so he can gain money. That's the same thing the pastor is doing. You know what I mean? Our sons and our daughters are getting 60 years in prison and having 17 kids at 17 living in a vacant, you know what I mean, or a project, and we working every day until we are 98. We thinking that we're not giving the church enough money.
Right.
That we're not doing something that the pastor is doing. And we're trying to just give everything into that church, and it's killing us. When really, you doing that is the reason why you're in the pain that you're in. You know what I mean? We're going to get some more into it. Give me Matthew chapter 15, verse 24. Verse 26.
The book of Matthew, chapter 15, and verse 26. But he answered and said, it is not meet to take the children's bread and cast it to dogs.
Right? So he's talking to, this is another example of how the Most High is not here for everybody, right? That he's only here for Israel. Where was we at? We was in 15 and 26, right? 15 and 26. All right, go up to 21. Verse 21.
The book of Matthew, chapter 15, and verse 21. Then Jesus went thence and departed into the coast of Tyre.
So he went thence. He went and he left. And he departed into the coast of Tyre. So he left from the place that he was in, and he went into Tyre and Sidon, right? This is Christ walking, and he's with his disciples. And they're going around doing what he directed the 12 disciples to do. They're looking for the lost sheep of the house of Israel, the Israelites who don't know that they are Israelites. The Israelites that have been in bondage by the Babylonians, the Romans, and the Greeks, and been in their land for so long that they start following after their culture, start worshiping their holidays like we do now. We worship Easter, right, and Christmas, and Thanksgiving, which is their holiday. It's not ours. You know what I mean? Memorial Day, Labor Day. We are doing what they do with the the lavender community, right? We're doing what they do. We are smoking what they accept to be good to smoke, eating all the foods that they enjoy to eat. We're doing what America does. It's the same thing back then there. We're doing it so much that we don't even know that we're Israel, that we're the real Jews.
Right.
We think that we're Africans, or that we're African American, or we think that we can just choose whatever nationality we want to choose, like the Moorish community. You know what I'm saying? Or we think that we Muslims. We want to wear kufis, right, and kiss a rock, and we think that Allah is our God. We think that Buddha is our God. We have stones that we think we get spirits from that give us good spirits. You know what I mean? We do everything the other nations do. When you look up all of these, they come from different other nations. You know what I'm saying? The Middle Eastern, the Hinduism, Buddhism, they come from all of these other nations when we follow, and we don't know ours. We don't know who we were before this. We're lost. We are the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So that's what he's doing. He's going out and he's searching for those, and he's telling them the truth. Same thing that the ISUPK does. We tell you the truth. We prove it. We study. We look at history. We decipher. We learn different languages. We spend money. We go and talk to other people. We do the work of scholars and archaeologists and scientists to find out the truth of us, the lost sheep. So this is what Christ, I'm just setting the basis. I don't want to babble too long. But this is what Jesus, Yahweh Shai in the Hebrew, is doing right now with his 12 tribes. He's doing it on foot. He's not doing it with the internet, though. He's doing it manually. You know what I'm saying? All right, so now, it said, verse 21, then Jesus went thence and departed into the coast of Tyre and Sidon. Go over verse 22.
Verse 22, and behold, a woman of Canaan came out of the same coast and cried unto him.
So, okay. Now, a woman of Canaan, right? A woman of another nation, a woman from another land, right? Came out, you know what I'm saying, and cried to him. You know what I mean? Like when we was kids and our parents used to cry in prayer because they didn't know how they was going to pay the bills. Or when they was so backed up in a situation and they did not know if they was going to be on the street or not. Something is happening where as though it is weighing down on her, that she is crying to Jesus as he's walking outside on this going about his way. Now go ahead.
saying, have mercy on me.
Saying, have mercy on me. Listen to me. Please. I got something to say. Listen, look, listen, please. Go ahead.
O Lord, thou son of David.
Oh, what?
O son of David.
Oh, who?
Son of David.
A son of Mary.
Son of David.
Son of David. This woman knew who Christ was. She knew the genealogy. She knew who he was. She was crying to him. She already knew that he was the king, that he was the only person that could solve this issue. You know what I mean? That she knew who his fathers was. She knew who his grandfathers was. She knew who David was, and she knew that he was from that kingship bloodline that comes from David,
Right.
that comes from Joshua, that comes from David. Go ahead.
My daughter.
It's a lot. I'm sorry. And we know it's something up because we know Mary didn't come from the bloodline of David. So even if Christ came from Mary, she is identifying him as the son of David. If Christ is really Mary's son, then that means Mary would have to come from the bloodline of David. But the records never show us any connection with King David, Mary being the bloodline of King David or Abraham. So that has to be signed up. This whole genealogy has to be a lie if you're saying that Mary is that Christ is only the son of Mary from immaculate birth. The genealogy would mean nothing. It would be no point that it would have to be in here because Mary didn't come from the bloodline of King David. You get what I'm saying? All right, now go ahead.
My daughter is grievously vexed with a devil.
And she has an issue. She has a problem. Go ahead.
Verse 23. But he answered her not a word.
He didn't. She is crying after this man. You hear me? She's saying, please have mercy. Now, from a Christian standpoint, hold that right there where that spot at. From a Christian standpoint, this is what they tell you to do. When you are in pressure, when you all feel like you about to break, they have sermons that they make millions of dollars off, that you buy their tapes. They get billions of views on YouTube from saying, when you are under pressure, when you need help, when you need somebody, you call on who? You call on Jesus. You hear me? What is she doing? She calling on Jesus, right? And what did he say? Go ahead, read. What did he say?
Verse 23. But he answered her not a word.
But he answered her not a word. Do that sound like a man that loves everybody? That sound like somebody who don't care about somebody. Somebody. Go ahead, continue.
And his disciples came and besought him.
His disciples came and they searched for him. They was like, hold up, where Yahushua at? Where Jesus at? Hey, Mark, where Jesus at? Where you see him go at? Go ahead.
Saying, send her away, for she crieth after us.
So they said, send her away. She crying after us. She's asking us for, I was about to say, she asking us for stuff. She bugging us. Vex means to irritate. So when it said here that she was vexed with a demon, she was irritated. She was bothered with it. And the reason why I'm saying that, because they used that word again. And the disciples came and said, they said, send her away, for she crieth after us. She's crying, she's begging, she's saying, mercy, mercy, please. Who that sound like? That sounds familiar. When I was a kid, it sounded like my mom, man, when she needed somebody to help her pay her bills. You know what I mean? When she missed a couple payments and we looked out that window, man, and that car was gone. And somebody had to go to work in 2 hours. And 3 of us had to go to school. And it wasn't walking distance. And Uber didn't exist. And we had to be there at 8 o'clock. You know what I mean? So catching a hat would have been hard. You know what I mean? It sounded like somebody was crying, and that it sounded like my mom or my grandma. Go ahead, continue.
Verse 24. But he answered and said,
I am not sent, but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
The Christ is doing the same thing throughout that he started off doing. You know what I mean? The same thing that he told the disciples, he was doing it. Same thing he told them to do, he was doing it. He told them only go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And he only went to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Right.
So much that it is a clear story about somebody who from the land of Canaan that he seen that wasn't of the lost sheep of the house of Israel, that did not receive his help so far. You know what I'm saying? So this doesn't look like somebody that is helping, that loves everybody, that cares, that want to save everybody. Now in this story, she did recognize who Christ was and who the nation of Israel was. Oh, we're gonna get all the way down to verse 24 where we at?
Yeah, verse 25 now.
Well, we was
24 was the last. But he answered and said, I'm not sent.
okay, go ahead. Read all the way down to 26. Go ahead.
Verse 25. Then came she and worshipped him.
She worshiped him. She accept when listen. This is the whole point of saying the sinner's prayer for the Christian church. To accept Christ as your Lord and Savior, they say, right? I believe by her worshiping him and not another God, that she was accepting him as her Lord and Savior. Go ahead. Verse
Then
26.
She came and worshipped him, saying, Lord, help me. Verse 26. But he answered and said, it is not meet to take the children's bread and cast it to dogs.
He called her a dog. And it's crazy. It hits you hard because it's in this book. Like, this book been like this since it was written in the Hebrew.
Right.
You know what I mean? We ain't add nothing in here. This is your book you reading in. That's your book that you reading in. We all got the King James. We all can go to Matthew chapter 15, verse 26, and see the Christ calling her a dog.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Calling her a dog. Now today, if you call a female a dog, what you calling her?
The B word, sir.
You know what I'm saying? The big B. You hear me? Man, this don't sound like a man that loves everybody. This sound like a man that loves his people first. You know what I'm saying? He said that it is not meet to take the children's bread and cast it unto dogs. Somebody is first, and then there's other people, and then there's something else. And it seems like that Israel is first, and everybody else is something. You know what I mean? Now, if we continue the story, because I know people probably going to talk about it, in the next scripture, she did recognize who Christ was and who Israel was. You know what I'm saying? As from their recognize them as their master. Go ahead, read it. This is the last scripture, then we're going to get into the next one. Go ahead, read
Verse 27. And she said, truth.
She said, truth. She's saying, this is true. This is true. Go ahead.
Lord, yet the dogs eat of the crumbs.
The dogs eat what?
Of the crumbs.
The dogs eat the crumbs. Go ahead.
Which fall from their master's table.
From their master's table. She recognized who her master was. The dogs eat the crumbs of their master's table. I didn't change this book. If you on Bingo or you on YouTube and all that, you can go in your own King James book that you brought with your money that you chose, and you can read the same thing that I'm reading. You know what I mean? You can ask your pastor to go in his book and then tell him to go to this scripture, and he'll read the same thing that you read in yours that I'm reading to you right now. You know what I'm saying? She recognized who her master was, and she said, well, don't we, the dogs, eat the crumbs from their master's table? And then what do he do? Read verse 28.
Verse 28. Then Jesus answered and said unto her, O woman, great is thy faith. Be it
Great.
unto
And that's when he blessed her. After she recognized who is the Most High's children, Israel. Who is the masters? And that's when she got what she wanted. You had a question?
I was going to ask, sir, if I may, if they're not in this Bible, if they're one of those new versions that they keep coming up with every year, some of this stuff been altered, so they're not going to read it the same. They've been taking this stuff up.
Yeah, I know.
Every new Bible.
That's why I say the King James Version. The King James Version is what King James translated from what the records, you know what I'm saying, that came from. So everybody, the King James Version is the closest translation of the original Hebrew records. That's why the King James Version is, the most popular version of the Bible, because it's the closest to the Hebrew. All of those other translations is a translation to help a particular group of people feel good about what they reading, for real.
Right.
You think it's to give you better understanding. They play that role that it's better understanding. You know what I'm saying? It's more plainly wrote in English, but these words in this book, this is plain English. You know what I'm saying? All you got to do is look these words up. Ye, yea, it means y'all. You look it up. It'll tell you in the dictionary. Now you know what yea means. So now every time you read it, you can just put that word right, that familiar word right there, y'all.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we learning where Christ came from, who he was, right? His genealogy, then his message, and what he told his disciples, and then an example of somebody that was outside of it. And if you want to say she was out of the land of Canaan and you don't know what she was, there's different books in there from different perspectives that give you better understanding. Give me Mark chapter 7 and 26. So we can get a better understanding of who this lady was. Who this lady was, and what nation was she from?
Come.
Give me 1 second. Let me get there. I got my phone hooked up to bingo, so I got to use the Bible. We on Mark 7 and 26, and it's going to give you a better understanding of who this lady was. You got that?
Come.
Read.
The book of Mark, chapter 7 and verse 26.
Now, Mark is a different version of Matt coming from. It's not a different version. It's a different perspective. Mark wrote Mark, right? Matthew wrote Matthew. Luke wrote Luke of following. They all was following after Christ. They wrote about the same things that happened from a different perspective. You get what I'm saying? Now go ahead.
The book of Mark, chapter 7 and verse 26. The woman was a Greek, a Syrophoenician.
Syrophoenician.
By nation.
So meaning this is the same woman that Matthew wrote about. The same situation. Matthew wrote about it in Matthew. Now Mark wrote that same situation in Mark. They kept records. You know what I mean? And it's telling you that the woman was a what?
A Greek.
She was a Greek of Syrophoenician by nation, meaning she wasn't the daughter of King David. You know what I'm saying? She didn't come from the same bloodline as Israel. She was Greek. You know what I mean? That's why they identify her as Greek. If she was Israel, it would have said she was Israel. Now go ahead.
And she besought him that he would cast forth the devil out of her daughter.
She asked, and now let him go on to let you know the same thing that she was asking over there, she's asking over here. So you can see the same thing. And go ahead, read the next one.
Verse 27. But Jesus said unto her, let the children first be filled, for it is not meet to take the children's bread and cast it unto the dogs.
You get it? Called her a dog in Matthew's from Matthew's perspective, and he called her a dog in Mark from Mark's perspective of the same situation that happened with Christ. And then it gave you even more clarity on who she was and what nation she was from, to let you know that she wasn't from the same nation. You know what I'm saying? And that she did receive help from the Most High. The Most High, the letter is not meant to be for me to help you before I help mine. And that's how every black and Hispanic and First Nation and Native Indian should be. Right. You should be out helping yours. That's why we have the One West mission, the One West Rescue Mission every Saturday 3430 Eastern Avenue in front of our school. You know what I'm saying? Giving out food and clothes to who? Our people. You know what I'm saying? Where in ISUPK, we follow Christ exactly the way he wanted. Our Christian pastors want to help everybody, while blacks and Hispanics be unalive in the street. You know what I'm saying? While we continue to deal with the same issues and vote for the same people and do the same thing every year. No. In the ISUPK under Commanding General Yohana, we serve us. We serve our people. Not us. We serve our people in here. We help us first. Go ahead.
Right, so it's kind of amazing how Esau and the small hats have taught us not to help our people first. But when you look at them, they exactly help their people.
They help. They see the so-called Jewish man. He helping his people so much first that he said he is going to decimate the Palestinians, while every nation in the world, let me say it, by every nation in the world is telling them not to, and the ones who are not saying not to, they are not telling him to do it. They just quiet. You know what I mean? Like, they will not let go of the Holocaust, but we need to let go of what the oppressor has done to the Native American Indians and how they celebrated every year on Thanksgiving.
Right.
We need to let go of the bondage and the hardship, that the atrocity that the so-called black Americans went through when they came to this country off the slave ships. We need to get over it. We need to tie our boots up tight and high and get to work. We need to forget about the Hispanic babies that are in them cages, right? We need to forget about it. And then we got a problem, bro, that is a virus. I was talking to a Hispanic brother at my job yesterday, and I work with a small group, maybe like 5 of us. I think 3 of them is Hispanic, 2 of them is Hispanic, and 3 of us are black, and the other 2 is a Hamite. The other one is a Hamite. So we play around. You know what I mean? We got a good relationship. And I was waiting, and I just asked him, yo, how do you feel about the babies in cages right now? It's been there for maybe like 4 years, right? And he was like, shuck his shoulders for real. You know what I'm saying? I honestly thought I was going to get a different reply. I was leading into the next question. But he threw me off when he just shrugged his shoulders. I was like, man, you don't care? And he was like, no. He was like, I mean, happens to everybody. I mean, he didn't say that. He said something else before he said that. He said this after I asked him, like, yo. So I was shocked. I was like, yo, listen, if you could give your life to free all of them, would you? He said, no, I wouldn't. He said, if I die for 400 of them, they'll just grab another 400. I was like, dang, you know, well, I said, if we started talking more, I was like, well, in that case, then maybe some of them will be inspired by your greatness and they'll risk their life for that other 400. So 2 people died to free 800 people or whatever. And he was like, nah, not me, bro. Like, our nation, we so selfish with ourselves. But it was another conversation that I had with him, that same person, about the so-called Jewish man and the Palestinians. And he was terrified about it. And he was like, yo, niggas we sloppy. He was saying that we need to come together. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody need to chill. And like, dang, you care about everybody, but you don't care about them 400 babies. It threw me off. It kind of made me mad for real. You know what I'm saying? I was shocked. But this is how we all are. It's not just him. Like, being in this baby, it's not even a baby Babylon. Being in this beast has made us grow cold against our own. We need to have more understanding about the drug dealer. That he's doing something wrong. He's killing his people, but he is oppressed. You know what I'm saying? That he feel like he has to go out and do that. You know what I mean? Even if you can't fathom it, but to him, he can't even see it no other way. He addicted to the money. His bills is probably up here, and if he can't stop, because if he stop, he can't see himself. He can't see himself paying the amount of bills that he pays now without the amount of money that he's getting. He can't fathom it. You know what I mean? But really, he want to stop. Some of them really want to stop, but they locked in. And they don't bring the product into here to over here. We don't. There's not a black person who invented how to make crack. You know what I mean? Like, it's known that Ronald Reagan brung drugs into the black community. Like, it's known. They make movies about it. They make money off of it. It's known. Like, why we not making that a big thing? Like, if that's known, right? They go over in Iran. They unalive them and slaughter them. And then because of their actions, they send them money and build their land up. You slaughter our children, right? You take our mothers away, you know what I mean, and put them on drugs. You send our fathers in prison. You know what I'm saying? And it will only be right that we should get the same, benefit that the other nations had that you went to war with. But instead, we get more pressure put on us. So we get more pressure put on us. And then we got to fight our own. Knowing the things that we've been through. Like, no sympathy from your own. The only way out of this cycle that we stuck in is to get into the ISUPK.
Right.
You know what I mean? Get into it fast and now and learn the truth about who Jesus, Yahushua in the Hebrew is. And about and to learn the lies about the Christian church. And to let the truth determine what we should do and how we should move. Learn our records and see what they did and what things that they did wrong and what got them to fall out and how they need to get back. We are these people that's in this book. We are the same people. Nothing is new under the sun. We go through the same thing. We went through bondage a couple of times. We went through the same thing in this book. Like the same thing that you see the brothers on the corner doing, that's in the ISUPK speaking, the same thing Christ did. The same way we target blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians in every podcast, and every YouTube, and every post, and every picture we put on social media, and every class, and every street speaking, Yahushua, Jesus, did the same thing. He targeted his people. You know what I'm saying? And told his disciples to do the same thing. So, anybody got any questions? Anything in the chat?
I have a precept to add to that.
Go ahead.
Like you said, that we doing the same thing, but also we've had the same enemies that we've always had.
Kind of will
And
come.
They're also doing the same thing. I pulled Psalms chapter 83, verse 3 through 5, about the other people, our enemies. Verse 3, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
They have taken crafty counsel against our people. What's crafty counsel? Crafty counsel is paying off our black political so-called leaders, you know what I mean, to tell a lie, to inspire you to be quiet. Crafty counsel is, I don't know, when war starts to go on, you know what I'm saying, an opportunity for us to try to be better, they distract us with a Super Bowl or a rap beef maybe. I don't know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or, a controversial event. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
And consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being the nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
Now, you know that they not talking about the so-called Jewish man. Because the name of Israel from the so-called Jewish man mouth is prominent. He owned the world. He is decimating the Palestinians. Where the word Palestinian won't be no more. It's not talking about him, because if it was, it would be the other way around.
Right.
The Palestinians would be decimating the so-called Jewish man. If these records was talking about him, the name of Israel is no more to blacks, Hispanics, and the Native Indians. They the ones who don't know the name of Israel as theirs. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand how anybody could read this book, understand that Yahweh in the Hebrew, Jesus, is black. His skin is black. His hair is wool. You don't think the Israelites is the same? He come from the same bloodline. You don't think he went out to talk and kept talking to them and called them his people. You don't think they black? You know what I mean? Like, if you still out here in today and you not believing that the Israel that the so-called, that these are our records, that Israel is really, that black and Hispanics are the real Jews, like, you really lost in the sauce. You know what I'm saying? They take crafty counsel against us. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? With by putting false prophets in front of our face to tell lies. You know what I'm saying? By targeting your children with the lavender community. You know what I mean? By targeting your children with crack and drugs in the community. Go ahead.
Verse 5. For they have consulted together with one consent.
All these nations come together with one consent. You know what I'm saying? The Ishmaelites built the ships, right? Everybody played a part in you coming into bondage. Everybody's playing a part over in Haiti. How they made it a gangland, controlled land with high-powered military weapons that the gang members in Haiti is taking from the military. When you ever heard of that? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Tookie Williams got executed in prison, you know what I'm saying, for less than what they doing over there in Haiti. Like, how is they taking over something over there? Haiti ain't ran by the Haitians. They speak another language. They speak French, patois. That's who running Haiti. Ain't French in the NATO? They were NATO, right? They ain't no gang taking over a city. They let that be. Now, and they got military, all of their vests in military, and now the military is in, and now they taking back over. Man, they crafty counsel to take that land back from you. Right. You know what I'm saying? And to put you back in the position that they see you worthy of being in. Low. Go ahead.
They are confederate against thee.
And they confederate against thee. They are confederate against the children of Israel. You know what I mean? The children of Zion. You know what I mean? And that's it for the day. On the Wednesday law class, we are the ISUPK under Commanding General Yohana. We've been speaking his truth since 1969, coming out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. And I'm going to pass the class off to Officer 50 Bakar to give you our announcements.
was a powerful class, sir. These are the security announcements. We are the ISUPK out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. The new rules for the brothers and sisters. When the new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find this in the book of Numbers, chapter 18 and verse 21, and in the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 8 through 10. It means a tenth in the Hebrew, and it's pronounced Ma'ashra. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, you give to the Treasury Department or the teacher. Priest fund is a free will offering for the priest. It is not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like to give, you can give it. Upcoming holy convocations will be for the Feast of First Fruits, Sunday, April the 28th. And we'll be having the feast here at our school, right, sir? Remind Akim and Akwafim to check on social media such as isupk.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for ISUPK events and materials. If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, he is to start wearing all black, which includes black boots, shirts, pants, headbands, or scarves. And with that, we're going to give a one courtesy salute to the teacher. Men of Israel, Majin Shabbat, Majin, Barak, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shah, Barak Athar. Yazmatah, Saw, which means turn and face the sisters. Imagine. We give a one courtesy salute to the sister. Men of Israel, Imagine Shabbat, Imagine, Barak, Yahweh Shema El Atham Ba Hashem Yahweh Shah.
Yahweh Shema El Adam Hashem, Yahweh Shah. Yahweh Shema El Adam Ba Hashem, Yahweh Shah.
Yajmatah, class dismissed.